Are we open to discussion now?
Yep. Mr. Larrabee.
We just had Mrs. Bakayaki and everyone over here speaking about the reason why some of our scores have fallen, and it was class size. You've also mentioned, Dr. Colley, that professional development costs a lot of money. I still can't see spending the amount of money for a program of $250,000, even though it's drawn out 5 years from now. We still don't know what the state's budget is going to look like next year, the year after, or what our situation is going to look like. And I just can't, I don't think it's prudent of us, I don't think it's responsible of us as a school committee to put a burden on a 5-year plan. I don't care if it's year 3, 4, or 5, of $250,000 when we've laid off, we've lost 6 teachers, 3 administrative, we saw in the totals today. And I just don't think it's responsible of us to even plan. The study's not done yet, as you said. We're putting the cart before the horse. The study's not even done on whether this works or not, whether it's a fad or whether from my understanding and from parents, from teachers, some aren't doing it, some don't want to do it, it's been shortened down to a 5-minute segment now in the morning rather than what it's intended to per training of a 20 to 30-minute session. It's now shortened down to a 5-minute session of just the greeting portion of it. I think teachers are afraid to come forward and say their real feelings on it, on the feel that they've been expressed to in other meetings that, if this is the way it's going to be, and if not, there's the door. That's kind of concerning that it would be presented in that fashion. I just can't personally spend that kind of money year 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 when we've laid off 6 teachers, class sizes are large. We need professional development to do the 4th to 5th, whatever is needed, and $90,000 per year for a 3-year plan is an awful lot of money.
Mr. Sullivan.
I'd like to speak to a few issues on the district improvement plan, which is what we're discussing in this motion. And certainly the action plan that was developed from the consensus of a variety of members of the community that our school climate should be healthy, safe, and a structured environment, which is essential to learning. And I totally agree. I wouldn't certainly support any removal of that statement. Going from that action plan and into the implementation based on a small company's approach to responsive classroom at a very expensive price tag, I feel at this time, due to the lack of our resources, is potentially something we have to rethink. I want to point to a statement made by Chip Young, who I believe Mr. Young is involved with the company that we do business with. Is that, no? Okay, well, he wrote a book, and I believe he's involved with the company that we do business with in the earliest stages. In his book,
Do you know what the name of the book is?
Time to Teach, Time to Learn. It was written in 1999.
That was Chip Wood.
I'm sorry, you're correct. Chip
Okay.
Wood.
Yes, he is one of the...
Okay, so Mr. Wood made a statement, and this is, I think, I bring this forward because I think it nicely sums up where we are right now in a timeline. He made a statement when he was being interviewed, when he came up with this concept and this program, that schools must finally be about the timeless relationship between teachers and students. When schools shrink to about only the business of comparative outcomes, test results, and efficiency, all our lives are diminished. Well, I can't agree with that comment right now because of the term of efficiency. Because when we look at our charges as a school committee, efficiency is a very large part of what we have to look at. We have to look at a $15 million budget. We're talking about resources, and that's what efficiencies are all about. And it appears that the author of this program came out and clearly spoke to this balance between test outcomes and where to put your emphasis. I agree that we need to put some emphasis on, as I said earlier, the environment. However, I believe that there's a mix beyond and I'll wrap this up for the benefit of time, but beyond the relationships between the students, which is what this program, my understanding, is clearly focused on. I believe it has to include many other elements of the school community. Paramount to that is certainly the teacher-to-teacher relationship, the teacher-to-administration relationship, and I see that missing. Until I'm convinced that our entire, and I have to be careful on my comments because we're in the midst of discussion with our teachers as one entity. But I do feel that we need to get to a point where I need to get to a point where I have a better feeling that all the teachers are on board on this program. Beyond that, I'd like to have better input from the community, including the families, and then go forward with the full implementation. That said, it appears that the figures are pushed out and adjusted a bit. My concern is, and I'll just speak to the efficiency, is I don't see we're going to have the resources. It comes to two basic themes, and this reflects back to the first comment. Class size versus implementation of responsive classroom. My number one priority going into budget season is certainly no more increases to class size, and also to, due to the class size increase of last year, coming up with programs that assist the teacher-to-teacher involvement in capturing the impacts and dealing with the impacts of these larger classes. A little bit of that is in this kind of plan. But we've selected one element of it, and I'm not prepared at this time to vote yes on as it stands.
Mr. Dewar.
I think we are all in agreement that class size and lowering that is probably on the front of everybody's mind. After this came up last time and hearing some of the thoughts on it, I had the opportunity, I requested from Sue Wilkinson if I could sit in on a few classrooms and see the teachers use the responsive classroom and observe it. And in some cases, I participated with the kids. I was able to sit in on a pre-K class, which I see my sons, a kindergarten class. Actually, I saw 2K classes, 1, 2, and 4. Specifically, I was brought in during their meeting time. The meeting lasted about 15 to 20 minutes, of which the meeting definitely did include a greeting. The kids absolutely adored the greeting in every age level that I saw. And I saw all the teachers